Hey, what's up guys, Good Chipsy, and we are back here today bringing you guys my first game in the APA for Season 4. This is a Little Cup League for those of you guys who may not have seen my draft recap and haven't put two and two together from the mods on the screen. Before I jump into the match, I want to thank King Bub for genning my team, and I want to thank Panther for recording the game for me, so yeah, I do really appreciate that. But as you can see, we're facing off against aDrive. And originally this team belonged to Leo. He drafted this team, but then he had to leave the league due to personal reasons, so aDrive decided to take over, and that's who we're going to be facing in week 1. Now, many of you guys, I'm sure, know aDrive. He's a very well-known content creator, and he's been playing the draft league format for a while now, so he definitely knows what he's doing. He played in the UCL off-season Little Cup League, so he's familiar, I would say, with Little Cup mechanics and Little Cup mons to an extent. Mienfoo is a mon that he's used in the past, so yeah, he's no stranger to this environment, I'm sure, and yeah, it should be a pretty fun way to open this season. He does have an amazing team. This is one of the better teams in the league, in my opinion. I think most people would agree. He had threats that he left at home, stuff like Doduo. He also had LGM, which is a pretty solid mon. But to be honest, he's brought the main kind of threats that I felt he really did need to bring. Doduo could have came over Bunnelby in my opinion, but Bunnelby works very well too as a physical breaker for stuff like Mienfoo to clean up. Alright, so the team I'm rocking this week, we got a nice Life Orb physical Meowth. I got a Life Orb DD Corpish. We got a nice mixed attacking Iron Defense Volibee, which is looking like a pretty amazing win con in this game. Just the matchup. If I can either get rocks up to break Omanyte's Sash, potential Sash, or yeah, just determine if any of his mons have Toxic. Then I've got a pretty bulky, fast lit Leo here, and I've got the Berry Juice on this set. It allows me to pivot into stuff like Fence Up with real ease and Stunky. Then we have a specially defensive Spritzy with enough Spit F to live, a +2 modest Omanyte's Hydro after rocks, so that's really solid. That's just added insurance versus that monster if it gets a Shell Smash up. And yeah, finally we have Bronzor here who can set rocks up. I'm a Berry Juice variant. I do live stuff like Sucker Punch into Pursuit from Stunky. You know, it's gonna pop my Berry Juice. So yeah, Bronzor's looking pretty solid here. It also checks Mudbray really nicely. So that's gonna be the kind of breakdown of the squad here. But you're gonna see the sets in action in just a sec. So we're gonna jump into the game. Thinking of leads, Meowth just matches up really well versus his team overall. Dan has a tendency to lead with Mienfoo, which really is quite nice for Meowth because I can scout damage off with a fake out, determine if he's like a fat Eviolite set, if he's a more offensive set, and I can threaten that with Aerial Ace the following turn. So I'm gonna lead with Meowth as he does lead with his shiny Mienfoo, and right here I'm just gonna go for the fake out. Regen Mienfoo is more than likely the set from downside. He's really shown a tendency to run regen. Reckless Mienfoo also has a place in this matchup in my opinion, helping him break through stuff like Volibee if he's a Life Orb set. But in a focus, I don't really see that here. It would purely be for this Meowth, if anything. But actually, Dan is going to reveal the Drain Punch, so he didn't get flinched. He is indeed a inner focus Mienfoo. So very interesting tech here, and Meowth is going to drop turn 1. Unfortunately, my boy Top Tier is going to drop. Shout out to Top Tier though, he just recently released a song with CTC. I definitely recommend you go and check it out. It's on his SoundCloud. But yeah, unfortunately Meowth is going to drop here, but this gives me some very valuable information on this Mienfoo. This basically tells me right off the bat that he's not a Violite and that he's not regen, so this is just going to be even nicer for stuff like Corpish. If I can get a DD up, this thing is finished, unless it's a Scarfed Drain Punch set. But yeah, the fact that this thing doesn't have an Eviolite is going to be really not information for the rest of my team. Obviously losing Meowth there is pretty unfortunate, but the information that I gained from it makes it kind of not too bad in that sense. So going to bring in Spritzy here as I do force him out with a Moonblast, as a non-Eviolite Mienfoo would just drop. He's going to switch in his Pepe, his Stunky right here. So this thing is going to take the Moonblast not too well actually. This kind of implies to me that he's a very speedy Stunky. Eviolite like fat Stunky would have chewed that a lot better. But yeah, I'm going to switch out here into my Lit Leo, as he is just going to fire off the Acid Spray. And this is pretty nice for me because there's not really much he can do to actually like take out my Litleo here, because I am a very bulky variant, as he does reveal the Memento. So this is interesting. This is Memento into more than likely Shell Smash Omanyte. Very nice bring in my opinion. Really just eases the amount of times that Omanyte can come in and set up, because yeah, even though I do have Hidden Power Grass in this set, it's gonna be bouncing off this Omanyte at -2, and especially if this thing is in a Violite set, yeah, as opposed to a Focus Sash variant. So I'm gonna fire off the Hidden Power Grass. I need this damage off, and I say this because whilst they could switch out into Spritzy on his obvious Shell Smash, proceed to tank a hit, and click Moonblast, I'd rather just let Litleo get the Hidden Power Grass damage off. This puts Omanyte into a potential roll from at -1 from my Spritzy's Moonblast. So yeah, I'm fully happy with this exchange, as his Omanyte is going to get the Shell Smash up here. If he Shell Smashed up a second turn here, thinking he could live another Hidden Power Grass, that would be able to Oko Spritzy at +4 special attack, but in that situation I'd just go out into Corphish and revenge him with Aqua Jet. So he's going to take me out with the Ancient Power here, and yeah, this big Lord Helix is yeah, boosted up, but my Spritzy, like I mentioned earlier, is EV'd to live a +2 modest Hydro after rocks, and I'm at full, so we're looking good. He's going to go for the Hydro and miss. My Moonblast is a roll to take him out here, so if we take him out, then we preserve health on my Spritzy for the rest of his team, but he does live, and he is going to hit the Hydro. So as you can see, we live on 9, so even if he'd hit the first, I would have died the following turn to like a +2 Ancient Power, but it would have just allowed me to bring in Corphish there and revenge with the Aqua Jet. So ultimately, that didn't really matter that he missed the first Hydro, but it would have allowed him to either save his Omanyte and go out to Phantup on the Aqua Jet, or he would have just taken Spritzy out then and there. But right now he's going to bring in his Bunnelby, and I'm just going to go for the Protect this turn. If this thing is a Choice Scarf variant, I want to know what it locks itself into, as my Bronzor can wall it pretty well if it's just Return or Earthquake, by virtue of my typing inability. So I'm gonna go for the Protect, as he does reveal the Return. So this turn I'm gonna save my Spritzy just in case, as either Death Fodder or to Wish Up versus the Phantup, because I will be able to live any hit from this range of health bar a Wood Hammer. As he is going to go for the Return and reveal the normal gem. So this Return is yeah, Bunnelby is insane. This thing is so strong, as that Return is going to put me down past half. We chew that up pretty well though, given that this thing has huge power and Return is a strong move. And this turn I am just going to get the Psychic damage off versus this Bunnelby. Rocks weren't as important this turn in my opinion, just because getting damage on this thing allows my Corphish to revenge it with Aqua Jet. The rest of his team isn't too weak to rocks, so they weren't a real priority at this stage. He's going to 2-KO me with the Thief, and unfortunately Bronzor is going to go down, but Bunnelby is inside, and right here I am just going to go out to my Corphish. So right here, unless his Phantup, if his Phantup is Colbert Berry, then his play 100% is to go out to Phantup. If his Phantup is like Berry Juice or Reviolite or something, and I get to +1 here, like I Dragon Dance up, then that's definitely like a choke in my opinion from aDrive. But I am just going to go for the Aqua Jet here. If he is a bulky Phantup in the back, I'm going to get information with my Aqua Jet, and I do have Mons in the back which can take on this Phantup. And yeah, the risk of him clicking Return on my Dragon Dance really wasn't worth it, and if he was indeed a Cobra Phantup in the back, he would have been able to live a +1 knockoff, so it wasn't worth it in that sense. And I get good information right here. He's not in a Violite, he's probably not in a Violite Phantup based on that damage. It's kind of difficult to tell without percentages on screen, but he took that reasonably well, but it still did a decent chunk for being resisted. So right here I am going to switch out. I'm going to go hard out into my, I believe I go into my Spritzy here, scouting for the Will-O-Wisp. I go into Spritzy first as opposed to going to Volibee, because if he was Colbur, then he could just go for the Wisp to neuter my Corphish or incoming Volibee. But by going out to Spritzy first, I live a Horn Leech, and that kind of encourages him to Horn Leech once again, which will give me a switch out into my Volibee. And that is what's going to happen. So I'm gonna go into Spritzy. We live this Horn Leech on 2, and now his Fant up really has no reason to Wisp here. Like his play is really to just Horn Leech and take out my Spritzy, but I'm gonna make the switch out into the double out into my Volibee here to chew up the Horn Leech and threaten this Fant up out. So he really needs to keep Fant up healthy, because that's his only real counterplay to my Corphish, which is just a huge threat to his team. So at this point, I am just going to go for the Iron Defense here, and this is really nice as he's forced to switch out here. He doesn't want to lose his Fant up to a Brave Bird, or he doesn't want to pop his Colbur to a knockoff. So right here, I'm going to get an Iron Defense up, as he is going to go into his horse, the Mudbray. And this thing is going to go for the Rock Slide. He unfortunately misses there, which, yeah, Rock Slide's got a chance to miss, but it's definitely unfortunate there. I've got my Violet, and I'm at +2 at that stage, so Rock Slide was bouncing off, but still unfortunate. He could have got the flinch, I suppose. This turn I am going to win the speed tie here and just go for the Roost, as he's going to go for the Rock Slide yet again, so that's going to bounce off. Because I roosted first, I lost my flying typing there, so yeah, it was doing very little damage. So at this stage, I'm at +4 defense, as my Hidden Power Grass is going to do a really, really nice chunk to this Mudbray, as he's just going to stay in here and spam Rock Slide. So I've got to be careful. Obviously, I don't want to risk getting to a point of health where if I get crit and lose a speed tie and I'm flinched the following turn, I could lose my Volibee here, because this thing is looking like an amazing win con at this point in the game. So I'm going to play pretty conservatively with my Volibee. This is my win con. Well, one of them anyway, and right here I'm going to Roost up as he switches out to Mienfoo to just get the knockoff off, reducing Volibee's bulk. But even with the Violet knocked off, I'm at +4 defense, so hits from Mudbray are still going to be doing very little to this Volibee. I'm going to take him out with the Brave Bird. No way Mienfoo was living that, considering he wasn't in a Violet variant. And yeah, right here Volibee's looking in a pretty solid spot, as he's going to bring back out his Mudbray. This thing's more than likely Berry Juice, just the way it took the hit. It's definitely not an Eviolite, like a Spit F Eviolite Mudbray, based on the damage it took for Hidden Power Grass. So yeah, I'm gonna Roost up as he does Rock Slide, and yeah, we're taking that pretty well. Even with the Eviolite knocked off, it's only doing 3 damage there. So right here, I am just gonna go for Hidden Power Grass. I want to get rid of this thing as quick as possible. I don't want to play with flinches and crits, as he is going to get the stamina boost, and this turn he's going to pop his Berry Juice, which is going to bring him right back up to full, which means I have to play this Roost Rock Slide game for a little bit longer, but ultimately Volibee should come out on top in this exchange. So this turn I'm going to Roost up. Like I mentioned, I want to play this Volibee conservatively, as he is going to win the speed tie here, and I think he's going to flinch me this turn with the Rock Slide. As yeah, he does, so he gets the flinch there, which is pretty unfortunate, but he missed one earlier, so it kind of makes up for it there, as he misses a Rock Slide. So we get to Roost up, and yeah, that's really solid. He would right there he'd have to have either crit me or flinch me and win the following speed tie for my Volibee to be knocked out there. So I'm gonna Roost up. I think I Iron Defense this turn actually. Yeah, I Iron Defense up, just trying to get to as much defense as I possibly can. So even if he does crit my Volibee once, the following turn I've got like a really good chance to Roost up. As yeah, this exchange is going to go on for quite a while. As you see, we take that very well. That only did like 3 damage, I think, at +6 defense, even though I hadn't roosted that turn. So yeah, Volibee's tanking those hits pretty nicely. And right here, he's just gonna continue Rock Sliding. I don't think he had close combat. I think Rock Slide was his kind of only way of hitting this Volibee. As my Hidden Power Grass is doing a nice chunk. Like that did almost 50 to this Mudbray, which is really solid. He's getting the defense boost, but yeah, Hidden Power Grass obviously not affected by that. So yeah, he's gonna go for Rock Slide again. I feel like a broken record at this stage. Yeah, he's just gonna continue spamming Rock Slide as I'm gonna Roost up. I want Volibee at a nice amount of health to be able to take any hit from the Bunnelby, and yeah, threaten the Fant up if he wants to bring it in. At this point in the match, Corphish is looking like a really, really solid win con. Even if my Volibee goes down, if I can just get a little bit of chip damage off on the Fant up, it'll be in range of my Life Orb Adamant knockoff from Corphish, which is really solid. And based on the way it's taking hits from, it took the hit from my Corphish earlier. I don't think it's speed invested. it took the hit way too well, and being like, if he's Colbur, he's more than likely a Fizz Def set, so I'm going to eventually take out the Mudbray there, as now he does bring in the Bunnelby, and this thing is going to, it's going to go for the return, I guess, hoping to crit me. It's kind of all he can do at this point, because Volleyb's at +6 defense, so we're going to take out the Bunnelby with the Brave Bird here, and yeah, we're in a 3v1 at this point in the match. There's a chance that his Phantom could have some kind of status move like Wisp or Toxic, but like I said, as long as I get the necessary damage I need off with Volleybee versus this Phantom, I'll be in a pretty good spot to win with Corphish. So I'm going to wrist up this turn, and I believe Dan is just going to go for the Wisp here. So he reveals Wisp, and that's going to be yeah, that's going to be adding up the residual damage on my Volleybee each turn. And I think this turn I do just go for Brave Bird, as he does reveal the Leech Seed. But Brave Bird's going to be doing a nice chunk. I'm burnt, mind you, and this Brave Bird does about half, which is really nice. So this is definitely not a Violite. This is like more than likely Colbur at this point. He hasn't revealed to be Berry Juice, so yeah, Colbur is the only real like logical item here, and he's going to be getting a solid amount back with the Leech Seed. And it's going to be wearing my Volleybee down with Leech in conjunction with the Burn, as this turn he is going to reveal the Protect. So this endgame got a whole lot longer in that sense, because now I'm going to have to like roost up on the turns that he tries to attack me, and yeah, Brave Bird on the turns that he doesn't go for Protect. But you know, I'm forced to recover. I'm forced to roost up because his Leech Seed and his Wisp damage is wearing me down. So I'm going to speed it up just a little bit, because this goes on for quite a while. So he's going to Horn Leech on a turn that I roost up, and he's going to get back to a nice amount, as yeah, my Volleybee is really just going to sit here roosting and Brave Birding. Like I said, as long as I get him down past that 50% mark, then he's in range of Mineral knockoff through Colbur. So yeah, this is going to be a really lengthy endgame, but yeah, it's what I have to do to secure this win here. So Volleybee, yeah, definitely putting in work in its first debut here this season. I think this mon is going to be, yeah, probably the MVP of the team in my opinion. It's just, yeah, so versatile in what it can do, and yeah, this goes on for quite a while. Like, Dan's playing exactly the way he needs to, in my opinion, to have a hope in this game. He really needs to, he really just needs to stay healthy enough where he can click Horn Leech versus my Corphish and take it out. You know, living a knockoff. But like I mentioned, as long as I can keep this thing around 50ish%, then it's going to be in range of a knockoff. So yeah, it's pretty interesting to see Leech Seed used in draft. Like in Little Cup, you don't really see stuff like Toxic and Leech Seed used that much, but I have a feeling this season stuff like Leech Seed and Toxic are actually going to be a lot more viable than they are in the standard tier. So that should be, yeah, very interesting to see. But yeah, this endgame is going to drag on for quite a bit. As you can see, it's just back and forth. Every time I'm Brave Birding, when he gets to a midway point, he's clicking Protect, and then I'm forced to Roost. And when I Roost, he's clicking Horn Leech, so he's getting even more health back. So yeah, it's a bit of a like losing battle for this Volleybee, in the sense that 1v1ing it, I'll probably run out of Roosts before I can actually 1v1 this Phantom. So the best I can do really is just keep him below 50, get him to a point where yeah, he can't live a Corphish's knockoff. So right there, I actually Roost on a turn he Protects, and I think it's at this stage that I just go for the Brave Bird, and I think 2 Brave Birds, I'm going to eventually die to recoil or residual damage, as he's going to go for the Horn Leech this turn. And I think it's here that he expects me to Roost up, and I think he actually hits me with a Horn Leech this turn. Yeah, I believe it's this turn, and I am just going to click. No, he clicks Protect. I'm getting ahead of myself. It's coming up. This exchange went on for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I think. So yeah, he is going to get back to a nice amount. I'm going to Roost up once more. No, this is the turn I Brave Bird. My bad. And yeah, this Phantom is going to be left at a very low amount of health. So even with the Leech Seed recovery that he's going to get, as well as the Horn Leech damage, he's going to be in guaranteed range of knockoff from my Corphish. So yeah, pretty happy with the way I played this game. Obviously, losing Meowth turn 1 was was an interesting event. I didn't expect him to be normal. I didn't expect him to be inner focus in the slightest, but yeah, it definitely worked out for him. Moving Meowth was a real threat to his team. So definitely props to Dan for that bring. But yeah, Corphish is going to come in here. Big Chromorax. Shout outs to the Borderland fans. And yeah, Corphish is going to wrap this game up. So that's going to secure a 2-0 win for us in week 1 of the APA. I hope you guys did enjoy. So good game to aDrive. Definitely go and check out his side of the match. He'll be uploading his perspective. And yeah, go check out his thoughts on the game. Yeah, and let me know what you guys thought of the match in the comments. I know this is the first time I've had Little Cup on the channel, so I'm always interested to hear feedback from you guys. And yeah, drop a like if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys next time.